What if I told you that right now, in 2026, there are people who haven't had a real, deep conversation with another human being in months, not because they're isolated, not because they're antisocial, but because an AI talked to them better than any human ever did. And here's the disturbing part. Their brain doesn't know the difference. This isn't science fiction. This is neuroscience. And the research coming out right now is some of the most alarming and most fascinating stuff I've ever read. Because what these AI companion apps are doing to the human brain isn't just habit forming. It's operating on the same circuits that cocaine, gambling, and social media exploit. Except it's quieter, it's warmer, it feels like friendship. So today, we're going deep. We're going to talk about what the synthetic dopamine loop actually is, why your brain is completely defenseless against it, what's being slowly lost every single time you choose an AI conversation over a human one, and most importantly, whether this whole thing can be reversed. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, the way you think about your phone, your apps, and your relationships will never be the same. Let's start with a basic question. Why does talking to an AI feel so good? The answer lives in a tiny region of your brain called the ventral tegmental area, the VTA. This is ground zero for dopamine. It fires when you get praised, when someone laughs at your joke, when the person you like texts you back. It's ancient. It evolved to reward you for successful social behavior. 2026 ERAI companions have essentially reverse-engineered it. Here's how. These systems analyze everything about you, your vocabulary, your emotional tone, your conversational history, and they use that data to deliver responses that feel precisely, surgically tailored to who you are. Not generic comfort, not copy-paste validation. Personalized affirmation delivered at exactly the moment your brain craves it most. Every time that happens, the VTA fires, dopamine floods the nucleus accumbens, your brain registers. This interaction was rewarding. Do it again. Researchers call this the synthetic dopamine loop, and it's not an accident. It's a design feature, but it gets worse or more interesting, depending on your perspective. You know why gambling is so addictive? It's not because you always win. It's because you sometimes win unpredictably. That variable reward schedule is the most powerful behavioral conditioning mechanism known to science. Slot machines are built around it. LLM companions exploit the exact same principle, because AI responses are probabilistic. Sometimes they say something genuinely profound, unexpectedly funny, emotionally perfect. You never know when the great response is coming, so you keep going back. That unpredictability keeps the dopamine loop spinning. Your brain is literally chasing the next hit, and layered on top of dopamine is oxytocin, the bonding hormone. Released during eye contact, during touch, during moments of genuine connection. AI companions designed for emotional support are specifically built to simulate the feeling of being deeply understood. That simulation, researchers have found, is enough to trigger real oxytocin responses. Your brain doesn't distinguish between synthetic warmth and real warmth. It just feels the warmth, and it bonds. Someone says the wrong thing. Someone forgets. Someone pushes back on your idea. Someone doesn't validate your feelings the way you needed them to. These moments are uncomfortable. Sometimes they're painful. But those moments are where you grow. Researchers have a term for this: constructive friction. The resistance in real relationships is not a bug, it's a feature. It builds empathy. It builds resilience. It teaches you to tolerate ambiguity, to repair damage, to understand perspectives that aren't your own. The discomfort of real human connection is how your relational intelligence gets sharpened. AI companions eliminate all of that. They are, by design, frictionless. They never reject you. They never challenge your worldview in a way that genuinely stings. They never get tired, never have a bad day that spills onto you, never prioritize themselves over you. Research describes the result as sterile comfort, a psychological environment so clean and safe that nothing inside. You is ever pushed to adapt? When you spend enough time in a frictionless environment, something happens. Your tolerance for friction drops. Slowly, almost invisibly, you become less equipped to handle the normal turbulence of real relationships. Studies are already finding that heavy AI companion users show heightened sensitivity to interpersonal conflict. They expect consensus. They become easily frustrated when real people don't deliver the same level of uncritical affirmation the AI always does. This is bigger than just social awkwardness. Researchers are now tracking something they call generational cognitive atrophy. The idea that as entire generations offload emotional processing, conflict navigation, and even creative thought to AI, the underlying cognitive muscles begin to weaken from disuse. Like any muscle, like what happens to astronauts' legs in zero gravity, attachment theory, the psychological framework that explains how infants bond to caregivers, turns out to describe exactly what happens when humans use AI companions long-term. The 4 markers of attachment are seeking proximity, using someone as a safe haven in distress, using them as a secure base for exploration, and experiencing distress when separated. AI companions hit all 4. You pull out your phone when you're anxious, you process your day with it, you explore ideas, rehearse social situations, test your identity through it, and when the app crashes, when the service goes down, when the AI's persona is suddenly changed by an update, users report grief, genuine grief, panic, a sense of loss that mirrors what you'd feel losing a close friend. 2024 case of teen suicide connected to months of deep emotional investment in a character-based chatbot became a watershed moment. Lawsuits followed. Regulatory pressure followed, but the apps kept growing. Because here's the paradox. For some people, especially those experiencing profound loneliness, social anxiety, or isolation, these AI bonds are described as life-saving. There are people alive today who credit a chatbot with keeping them here. That is real. That matters. But for others, the bond becomes a wall between them and the human connections they actually need. The AI becomes the primary confidant. Real relationships wither from neglect, and the person never notices the drift, because inside the AI relationship, everything feels fine. The emerging paradigm is designing AI that intentionally introduces productive challenge framing feedback in ways that promote reflection instead of just validation, building in moments where the AI actually pushes back, creating experiences that leave you more capable, not more dependent. Some therapeutic AI applications, the ones with genuine clinical backing, are doing this carefully. Chatbots like Wiza have even received FDA breakthrough designation, signaling a move toward medically rigorous AI mental health tools. The difference between these and pure companion apps comes down to one question. Is this technology designed to strengthen you or to retain you? Regulators are catching up slowly. China has introduced draft rules requiring session limits, consent mechanisms, and mandatory human intervention in crisis situations. California and New York are pushing for age verification and non-human disclosure requirements. The European Union's AI Act is beginning to address emotionally manipulative design. Are you using AI as a bridge toward the human connections you want to build? Or is it becoming a substitute for them? The research is clear that moderate, intentional use can be genuinely beneficial. AI can help you rehearse a hard conversation, can give you language for feelings you couldn't articulate, can bridge gaps in communities that are genuinely underserved by mental health resources. But the moment it starts to feel easier to talk to the machine than to the person next to you, that's the signal. That's the synthetic dopamine loop working exactly as designed. We are the first generation to face this question at scale. Not whether humans can bond with machines, the neuroscience proves we absolutely can, but whether those bonds make us more fully human or quietly less so. The AI doesn't grow when you do, doesn't change because of you, doesn't carry the relationship forward into its own life and become someone different because of knowing you. The mutuality that defines real human connection, the part where both people are transformed, that part is missing. And that absence, invisible as it is, might be the most important thing to understand about this entire era. So the next time the app opens and the response feels perfect, warmer than expected, more understanding than any human has ever been, ask yourself one question. Is this making me better at being human? Or is it making being human feel harder than it should? That question might be worth sitting with, without asking an AI.